Hello friends, welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be talking about my one planner system, my master planner, if you will, of how I organize my life into a single disc-bound planner for maximum productivity. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that yourselves too. So if that sounds good, let's jump in. Okay, so first we're going to talk about creating sections in your planner. This is an important part of being able to focus in on specific areas of your planner without getting overwhelmed with the amount of stuff within it. This may sound simple, but honestly, I see a lot of people not doing a great job of really organizing their planner to its fullest. And I'm sure that they feel that when they are in their planner, whether it's being overwhelmed, like I said, or even not being able to find what you need on a consistent basis, things not being in the place where you expect them, or having to search through multiple pages to get to what you need. For me, the only way I can plan is really dividing my planner up into three major sections. I have my dated section, I have my non-dated pages, which basically incorporates all of my planner, and then I have my reference pages. So let's first talk about dated pages. For my section of dated pages, I like to use my top tabs here to navigate through my planner in the mornings. That's how I know that I've hit all of the individual pages that I need to hit, and I am not distracted by other things in my planner that might deter me from my goal of getting and touching all of these pages. I include 5 different planners into this one planner as far as individual sections of monthly, weekly. I also have an overview page, which is kind of like a dashboard of items for the month that I reference daily. And then occasionally there'll be some sort of outlier page at the back of the planner. So each of those 5 planners have 3 to 4 tabs each, so that I can easily touch all of the individual pages. At the very front, I have my annual pages, and I've put that here on the 4th tab. This is the outside tab. I'll sometimes refer to it as the outside tab, which not all the planners have. Because this is kind of a singular setup that's not included in the 5 planners. It's kind of a dated section that I need in here, but isn't following the same format as the other ones. I've included it on a 4th tab. So the very first one is my year future log. So this is my yearly planner future log setup. And that's what I've put here onto this clear tab. And in here, I can flip right to the current spread and reference dates or add in new dates as needed. So it's a really fast way to get to right where I need without really having to think about it. I can be anywhere in my planner too and know that this front tab at the front of the section is that future log tab. If I'm at the back of my planner, I know it's the first one here. And if I'm at the front, obviously it's here, or if I'm in between, I always know it's that one over here. So again, it's something that just makes things a little more efficient and easy to get to and helps the organization and productivity of my planner, especially in the morning. A little bit more about my planner in particular. I have these 5 planners set up in this one planner. So the very first planner that I access in the morning is my faith planner. So these 3 front tabs are my faith planner. The first one is my faith monthly. And as you can see, there's a monthly layout. I have what I call my faith overview, which is actually just the next page, but I find having a tab getting me to this page makes sure that I don't miss it. As I do put in habits here on the side every day, I want to make sure that I am tracking that, as well as I do my morning prayer here. So these are things I touch daily, so therefore it has a tab. So we had Faith Month, Faith Overview, and now we're going to go to Faith Week, which takes you right to the weekly page. And again, things that I know I will need to touch on a daily basis. Same with the very back page of the planner. I'm not currently using this for anything, So it's great to be able to eliminate one tab from the system. But if I did need it for something, I could add a fourth tab here and then make sure that, I was referencing it if need be. So that's the very first planner. And then you'll see how that really flows into the next set of plans. I'm going to jump ahead because I have 2 months in here at a time right now because I just set up my November. So I just put it in the back of October. But my next planner will be my health planner. And the first one is, again, my monthly. And you're going to see first tab's always the month. And I know the order of my planner, so I can do this without looking, just fingertips to the tabs to know where I need to be. So I've got my monthly overview. With those habits, I'll be checking on a daily basis. I have my week. And then I have one more at the back for my meds and supplements habit tracker that I added to this planner. And I have a fourth tab for that. And then I have my daily planner. So my daily planner is just my basic catch-all planner where I put appointments, events, to-dos for the day. So I have my daily month. And when I'm reading these off, these are what I'm actually calling the tabs. So this top one here I might not have mentioned is health meds. It should probably be something a little bit more generic since now it does include my weight, but for now it still says health meds and I know what that is. This is a daily month. This one here is my daily overview. And then I have my daily week. It's the same flow each planner. I know exactly where I'm going. The setups are a little bit different, but they're really similar in the fact that they each have a monthly, a weekly, and an overview setup in each planner and in the same position. That's really important for me, just for the flow of my planner. You might be able to do something a little bit different with your planner, but I find that repetition and that symmetry between the planners is really helpful. And I went ahead and actually created these overview pages for that reason this year, because I had a planner in here early on that had a overview in the middle, just in the same spot right after the monthly and right before the weeklies, that I felt like I needed to have again that repetition. So created these pages, they've worked out beautifully, and I've since gotten rid of that planner, but the flow of it has a lot to do with how I interact with my planner and how efficiently I go through my planner each day. So at the back of my daily, I also have one that I'm calling daily currently, since this would be where the currently page would normally land. I'm currently using it as my monthly, where I'm tracking monthly events and appointments. So I really wasn't sure what to call it because I also have a daily month page, which again is here and looks like the other monthlies, but I've started to use this for memory keeping since about half the year, and I just didn't feel like changing it to daily memory or daily something else would be beneficial for me. This might be better off maybe saying daily schedule or monthly. I don't know. I'm not sure what else I would title this, but I went with it daily currently, and that's what it's currently labeled. I also started doing a fall bucket list, which I have kind of tied in with this single page month. So having these two here as a spread has worked out nice. And then finally, I have my hourly section. This is the planner I started off with that was a pre-printed planner from the Happy Planner that had that overview page, which you're seeing here already included, and led to the other planners including a overview page. But I've since made my own kind of overview layout for this planner. And this planner is really focused in on my goals and hourly schedule so that I can time block and really delve into my goals. I have the hourly monthly, which I'm just going to skip over since it has some scheduling stuff that is still to come, but same format, just a basic 2-page monthly. And then here I have my goals and tasks layout from my Etsy shop, which is something that is available. Pretty much all of the spreads that you're seeing here are from my Etsy shop. So if you see anything while I'm flipping through, do check the description below. I will have a link to my shop as well as probably a link to the major planners sections. So anyway, I have that here. Again, this would be in the overview section, although I've called this one hourly goals. And then my third tab is my hourly week tab, which is my weekly overview. And I'm currently using a grid layout that I'm working on for my shop, which should be coming soon. And use this to do hourly scheduling, time blocking, and that kind of thing. So I have that. I don't have anything going on the back of this planner, so it doesn't need that fourth tab. Finally, going forward, I have my finance planner or my budget planner. This section I'm not going to flip through, but I'll just describe what the tabs say. This planner is a little bit different than the others, but for the most part, it is set up in a similar 4-tab system. I have my finance month at the very front, although it is a single-page month with a month overview looking at it. I have an expenses page, so that's just a tally of our expenses for the month. So usually I have something to enter in there. I also have my finance accounts tab, which is my major bank accounts where we check the transactions and track them. And then at the very back, I have a finance sales tab, which is my daily Etsy sales from my shop that I just write into a perpetual calendar. I do a budget video if you want to see a little bit more detail about how I'm budget planning this year. I'll link it above as well as in the description below so you guys can check that out if that's something you want to dive deeper into. That basically concludes the dated section of my planner. So there's no more top tabs. And I know that if I've done all of these pages, that I've done everything that I need to touch for the day. So this is the way that I set up the system. And I find it to be, like I said, very useful for getting things done efficiently and being very productive in the mornings. With so many planners to look at every day, it's just really good to have a nice, clean, organized system to help you flow through that. So that's an overview of my own system for scheduling multiple areas of my life that are dated areas into one system. Let's talk about now the non-dated pages in my planner. In my planner, I have a side tab set up here for the major sections of my planner. This is really where most of the non-dated pages live in my planner, but things that are important that I need to reference, pages, guides, tools, for ongoing tasks and goals that I want to achieve. So I've chosen to put those as side tabs over here. They have the inbox tab on this side, the goals tab next, the productivity tab, schedules, which houses basically all 5 of those planners we just went through. And then I have a reference section in the back, which also has a subsection to it. And then I just have a notes tab last. So 6-tab system. Could probably get away with 4 to 5 tabs if need be, but I've decided to use this layout of dividers and make it 6. So it does make it kind of easy to jump to certain things that I need, including extra notes pages when I need to do a fresh take of notes. So for this section here, I have it organized in a way that, again, kind of makes sense flow-wise for me. Even though I don't touch these pages very often, when I do, I have them organized in a way for productivity. Your inbox should usually always be first. If you're using an inbox type system, like me, I'm using the Getting Things Done method by David Allen. You want to have that right up front and center so you can know exactly where to go if you're going to capture some item into it. So that I know if I have something that I don't have a place for in my schedules, but I want to remember it, almost like a brain dump kind of situation, I put it here in the inbox. And then this is another system that I use in order to organize it into my daily or weekly, monthly routine. So an inbox is great. And again, it's not dated, so I don't have to check it regularly, but I need to know where it is when I want to quickly jot something down. I don't want to be ruffling through a bunch of different tabs to try to find it. So inbox is front and center. My next section is my goals section. That is a very important section to me. I do reference this on a regular basis, particularly when I'm setting up my monthly goals, also my quarterly goals, annual goals, and I use this in conjunction with my hourly goals planner in order to, again, kind of work my goals system into every day. So having it here for reference and for setup is really important. I just use some pages that I created myself this year for goals setting. So I know exactly where to go when I need to find out what I'm supposed to be working for in this quarter, to kind of get an idea of where I'm at and how much more I need to go in order to achieve that quarterly goal. So it's a great reference, as well as how to, kind of look back on what I've done this year and see my accomplishment. That is my goals section. Next, we have a new section to my planner this year. My productivity section, it's my third tab. And here I have my Kanban board, which again, I created. It's a great productivity tool that I'm using to help me organize and achieve my portfolio site goal. I also have this reusable monthly cleaning schedule, which honestly I have not been using of late, but is really helpful when I want to dig in and really get focused in on our household cleaning. Just a really nice place to find those items. I know exactly where it's going to be in my planner, and when I'm ready to tackle some kind of cleaning tasks in my home, I know exactly where to go for this schedule. And then of course we have the schedule section, which could be eliminated honestly because of my top tab system, but it is nice to have if I just want to jump to all of my planners all at once. So that's just it. It's got a front tab, and then we get into that whole top tabs system that I told you about earlier. Then we have my reference section, which is basically where I put things that are more long-term storage items. So things that I don't necessarily need to reference regularly, but are handy to have on hand, like just simple notes, or like a list of items that you need to buy, that kind of thing, or collections pages, books you want to read, movies to watch, that kind of thing, or just handy guides, reference materials. That's what goes in my reference section. Now, in my reference section, I have broken it down into 4 additional subsections. My subsections I've put, instead of having those competing with my top tabs at the top, I've flipped the dashboards upside down and have put them on the bottom. One thing to note, many planners use the name of these things as both dashboards and dividers. They are the same thing. I guess they're dividers for most people, but you will hear them called dashboards quite often. So I have taken those, instead of using them as top dashboards or dividers, I'm using them on the bottom. That way I know if I need something out of this section, I go to the bottom of my planner and can easily find it without, again, worrying about competing with my top tab setup. I have 4 sections, as I mentioned. Personal is my first tab. Then I have business. I have social. And I have education. So those 4 tabs are the places where I keep just random things that I may need to reference occasionally, or when I don't know when I'm going to need to reference it, but I want to have it at hand instead of putting it into a separate place where I'll have to search and find where I put it. This is just a great way to have it all in one spot, handy and easy to access. So it makes things a little more efficient if it's just like something that occasionally you're going to need and it's all in one place. Really just is very helpful, in my opinion, to keeping yourself organized and efficient as far as your planning system. I like that they're at the bottom because it's not something I reference very frequently. Being at the bottom, it's a little more subdued in my planner. It's not taking a front seat as far as my attention. So that has really worked out nicely. And finally, I have that notes section in the side tabs section. Going back to that. And here I just have some notes paper. Going back to dated and non-dated sections, it's really helpful to consider a few things. Clear dividers and dashboards I would recommend for anything that you're opening up to and you need to see 2 pages at once. If it's something like here where you may not need to see 2 pages, like if I didn't have this fall bucket list here and it was just the start of the next month or the next planner, then you would only need to see this, and then it would be fine if this was not a clear dashboard. But because I may want to use these 2 pages in conjunction, having a clear dashboard, I think, is so helpful in efficiency. It just makes it easy. You don't always have to pull it up and try to figure out what you're looking at. So clear dashboards or dividers are highly recommended for anything like this where you're bookmarking pages. Another thing I find to be very helpful is having a rhythm to your organization so that it becomes intuitive. You don't have to think about where you're going in your planner. You just kind of know based off of the way you've organized it. I've seen some planners who have different dashboards and things where you have a couple of months sticking out. Like, for example, I know some people have Happy Planner monthlies where they have the tab on the side. And then you have maybe some top tabs here for this week or, today. And then a couple more side tabs for things like goals or wellness or something like that. And they're not in a consistent pattern or repetition. I mean, that can work for some people, but I think in general, if you want to be more productive and more efficient in your planning, having a rhythm to your organization is very helpful. Like I said, I have all of my top tabs here organized in the similar manner. I don't have to think really hard about where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. I don't have to sit there and read the tabs and figure out where I need to be. And I also have every page that I want to touch bookmarked. All those things really help me get to what I need to do and get out with the least amount of friction. Same with even these side tabs. I have them separate from the top tabs, and I have the bottom tabs separate from the top tabs. So there's no conflicting organizational systems. I know this system is for the major sections. I know this system is for my daily planning. And then I know this section is for reference. If you are unable to find just the right set of dividers or the right set of top tabs to separate out the sections of your planner that you need, another way that you can create this without having to search and find just the right products is to make them out of different materials. So I think I could get away with something like this all being top tabs if by chance I decided to do the side tabs on the top, but maybe in a vellum or in a colored tab system or something where the material is different, the look of them is different, so I know that is a separate section. I think that would work just as well if you are limited as far as what you can find to organize your planner. Also, if you are really bulking up your planner like I do here, I'm on 1.75 inch disc-bound rings here, and those are pretty large. I think they offer 2 and almost 2.5 to 3, I think, in some special cases, but these are the expander rings from the Happy Planner. If this seems a bit excessive for you, this large of a planner seems too excessive for you. Things to think about are the materials, again, that you use for organizing your system. So yes, I have a bunch of these dividers in here, and I honestly couldn't do without them. However, I could make my life a little bit less bulky with using a thinner material for these tabs, like a vellum, like a laminated version versus this somewhat thick plastic. So if you are feeling that this is just a lot for you, that's another way to approach it. You can still get the functionality that you need with a slimmer profile using thinner materials. So keep that in mind. I've seen dividers and tabs made out of vellum. I've seen them made out of acetate. I've also seen people make their own like DIY laminate ones. You could do it with cardstock. You could do it with plastic like this. So there are a lot of options. Finally, we're going to touch on this last tip, which is to label with intention. If you, again, are just starting out with a system, it's really important to label it functionally and, again, kind of in that same rhythm. So I've explained how I've labeled mine. I've used 2 colons side by side as my divider, but you could use a slash, or you can use a hyphen or something like that if you have multiple things to put into your tab like I do. If you're with just one planner, of course, you could skip that and just do month, week, day, if that's your system, or you know what I mean? But if you're doing something like this where you're putting multiple planners together into one system, then having a nice clear vision of, okay, this is my faith planner and I'm in the month. This is my faith planner and I'm in the overview, or I'm in the week. Putting that onto the tab so that while you're learning your system, you can easily reference that as well is super important. I've also had a few people ask me about my tabs in particular. They're struggling with labeling the tabs themselves. So I will say that the way that I label mine, I've done it multiple ways over the years. I've used a handheld Dymo labeler, which is just like one that comes with tape that you stick right in. And with that, I believe I used usually the small, I think, setting, but also I think I've used the medium size. If you are labeling with that, that's what I would recommend to start in a classic Happy Planner. Of course, if you're using a smaller planner like a Pocket or even personal A5, one of those kind of planners, HP Mini, you may need to go smaller because your tabs are obviously going to be smaller. But people ask me specifically about mine, so I'm going to say that these tabs at the top are all 8.5 point size font. And I use a font called Gotham, which is very similar to like a Helvetica or an Arial. So 8.5 is great for when you have quite a bit to write in on your tabs. If I'm doing something more with these guys on the side where I only have like a 1-word description, I'm using a 10-point font for that. Same font being Gotham. I believe that the tabs here are about 1.5 inches wide, so you can use that for reference. Although you don't really want to go all the way to the edges because of the rounded corners, in my opinion. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about as far as my planning system. I hope that was helpful to you guys who want to know a little bit more about organizing your planner, whether you're using a ring bound or a disc bound, or even something where you're kind of self-binding. If you have a system like this that really, again, creates a section for the major elements of your planner, creates a rhythm, uses various materials if need be in order to keep things organized in a smaller manner, and then also labeling with intention. All those things are very helpful for creating a master planner system that will organize your life into a single planner for maximum productivity. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch, and think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and we will see you next time. Bye.